Just like their human players, even the puppets are starting a traditional performance with offerings and prayers before the main show begins. Once this was the normal beginning of a traditional puppet performance in Myanmar. And in the Asia Plaza Hotel in Yangon, the traditional ensemble named Htwe Oo Myanmar is the only ensemble left in the country which is still performing a reduced but still complete traditional show. Filled with hundreds of different characters, ranging from comic dances like the one seen here, over to legendary tales from Buddha's life. A complete traditional performance can take more than 8 hours. The actual performance of the ensemble in Yangon only takes about 45 minutes, but still shows a compact sample of the rich diversity of this old tradition. Several years ago, the director of this ensemble, Oo Myanmar, initialized this outstanding ensemble by picking up the old famous puppeteer Htwe, who is now living with his family, and helped him to establish an unique ensemble in which the old traditions of the Myanmar puppet performances are kept alive, passed on to the younger generation, and thus preserved for the future. Htwe once was a famous singer, actor and puppet performer. And in this performance he shows us the magical abilities of the magician named Saji, an alchemist who is able to ride, fly and jump with his magic wand. Without the help of the director Oo Myanmar, the old puppeteer would not have had any chance to earn his living from his traditional skills in performing arts. He was lucky, because many old artists like him share the same fate. The public interest in performances like this has finally decreased so much that there are only few artists left in the country who know about the old traditions and have the skills and are lucky enough to find a stage on which they still can perform. Htwe thanks his director by introducing him and the rest of the ensemble to the old traditions, in which we see many different characters. For example, the wild horse, which is domesticated in a scene which is not so easy to perform, because another puppeteer has to jump a human puppet on the back of the horse without mixing up the strings of both puppets. Finally, the horse rider is handed over to the horse puppeteer, who handles both puppets at once and lets them ride off the stage. There are more animals taking part in the ancient tales. For example, 2 apes, just jumping around like their real-life role models, and they obviously like to climb on the walls. Some of the animals move in such a precision that they are hardly separated from their living counterparts. And when we see the crane approaching a fish and catching it, one can easily forget about the strings, and the big puppet, which is hard to handle, truly becomes alive. This illusion of real life even covers fictional creatures like the flying divine beings in this scene. Besides demons and other mythical beings, many of these creatures belong to the ancient Ramayana tales, which build up the main part of a traditional puppet performance in Myanmar. Their performance is a bridge to the many diverse dances of real human characters. In the center of each performance, one highlight is the appearance of the prince called Minta and his princess named Minta Mi. This is the most pleasing performance for the audience, and handling the puppets and singing at the same time demands high skills. By the way, the old puppeteer Usain Chi is the only active puppeteer left in Myanmar who is able to sing the role and manipulate the puppet at the same time. And he taught his female companion how to do this outstanding performance too. This performance is also very important for the development of all Myanmar dance traditions, in which the main characters of the prince and princess still are in the center of a traditional performance. And the human dancers still try to imitate the movements of the puppets even today. Besides presenting outstanding performances like the scene we have seen before, the Htwe Oo Myanmar ensemble is lucky to own a wide variety of puppets with different extensions. The rope jumping dance introduces the appearance of several entertainment aspects in which we meet puppets handling a variety of items. The artistic balancing of the barrel drum tries to follow the drum rolls in the background music. And we can see how the legs of the lying puppet tremble and shake due to the heavy weight of the drum. Introduced by a comic slapstick dance, the final appearance of a quartet of musicians playing real instruments give us a glimpse on nearly all members of the Htwe Oo Myanmar ensemble. After visiting many performances like these, I asked the director Oo Myanmar for an interview. I wanted to know more about the actual situation for the puppet tradition in Myanmar and his ensemble and which difficulties they face.
The main problem to continue my traditional puppet show, it is the place for theater. Because I like the permanent theater in a specified place to show the puppet performance, not only for the tourists, for all public in Myanmar, especially the school children. The main problem for me is the place to perform.
What about financial support of your government? Is there any?
Sorry, no.
No. So you truly depend on visitors?
Yes.
How many visitors did show up in the last days?
It's very sad. 2007, 2008, there is some political problem in my country. and there is no visitor again. So this is my second year. I survive myself. I invest selling my properties again, and then I invest for second year. And then in third year, 2008, 2009, there I have no budget, means no financial to hire the room for the theater. So I find a place to get free of charge. So I got a place in the amusement zone, free of charge, but the facility is, this is just for children playing ground. Huh? So this is not
Too small.
Yeah, very small. But I stayed there, but there is what happened in my country, the typhoon, Nugget, affected, and also my puppet damaged. And the Bangkok airport closed for political movement. And again, there is no tourists, and then no Myanmar audience at the amusement zone. So this is very hard to survive, but I continue.
And you have to pay for your puppeteers, so these puppeteers are your employees,
Yes, of course.
and you had to pay to have all these puppets. How many puppets do you have?
Maybe hundreds puppets.
I can see from the internet that you had some international invitations. Please tell us where you have been with your puppet show already.
Yeah, I have the 4 international participations. The first one in the UAE, Dubai, in the shopping festival, 2008.
Yes.
And the second one is the puppet festival in Sweden. They said this Interdoubt International Puppet Theater Festival. The third one is in Cambodia, Phnom Penh. This is second Lakhon International Theater Festival. The fourth participation is just recently, end of 2009, we started the 3 weeks puppetry workshop in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Now here, this is also one problem for me. Somebody is thinking I am very famous and very successful because of those international participation. We are very happy to show our traditional puppetry. That's why I participated. There's no other financial advantage at all. But people is thinking I am very successful.
Yeah. But you do it for the reputation of the puppet theater, not for yourself.
Yes.
Yes. This is now the third time that you try to build up a theater. Is the next time the last one?
I don't think so, because me and myself and my wife, now we are not only Htwe Oo. I have 2 kids, 1 daughter, Htwe Oo, and 1 son, Htwe Oo. They are also now our puppet family. My daughter, now she start manipulating, and my son, he also start dancing as puppet. So I had more passions to resume this keeping traditional puppetry alive. I will try my best. And
you will never stop.
I hope so.
Speaking of his children, Htwe points out a very important part of his work. By teaching his children how to handle the puppets and how to perform the dances, he hopes to motivate other children to get interested again in this traditional form of art. In a lovely performance, we see his daughter Htwe Oo on the left side, manipulating the puppet character of the page boy, while his son, Htwe Oo, wearing nearly the same outfit, is trying to imitate the movements of the puppet. Htwe's face paint and hair extensions stand for the transsexual appearance of many male dance parts who look like female characters, a fact which can also be seen in the daily ghost evocation ceremonies all over Myanmar, where male dancers costumize like females. Htwe also asked me to interview his wife Htwe Oo, who's not only managing the financial aspects and organizing the performances, but also sewing most of the costumes, may it be for the puppets or for the human dancers. In our interview, she tells me about the history of her family. Several years ago, she was married to Htwe because he was a navigation officer and thus a good part, promising a secure future. She tells me about the disappointment of her parents when he decided to quit his job in order to start managing a traditional puppet ensemble. Once the family has been on the bright side of life. They owned a car, a beautiful apartment, and life was easy. But after quitting his job for the Burmese army, nearly all the money had to be spent in order to finance the ensemble. After several years of trying, nothing was left over. The family had to give up all prosperity. They sold all their belongings just to make the survival of the ensemble possible. They have to pay the daily fees to their employed puppeteers, whether they have performances or not. And buying the puppets, sewing the costumes, putting up the stage, and paying the rent for the theater room was eating up all of their finances. Actually, the ensemble lost their room in the Asia Plaza Hotel. And not knowing where to go next and facing an unsecure future for her family and ensemble, Htwe Oo cannot help but cry in tears.